Okay, so when someone asks you, describe your daily routine in English, do you ever just kind of freeze up?
Oh, absolutely.
Like you stumble over really common words, maybe phrases that feel like they should just roll off the tongue. I think a lot of us have been there.
Definitely. It's a completely relatable thing. You know the words on their own, right?
Yeah.
But like putting them together fast, naturally, when someone's actually waiting for an answer,
Yeah.
it can feel like, well, like trying to run an obstacle course blindfolded, linguistically speaking.
Huh. That's a brilliant way to put it. And well, that leads us right into our mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack an approach that promises to turn that struggle into, confident, natural communication about your day. We're aiming for sounding like a native speaker, not just scraping by.
Yeah, and the source material we're looking at today is, well, it's quite unique. It's an active English-speaking practice session.
Yeah.
And it's built specifically around daily routines.
Active practice. Okay.
Right. And its whole premise, the core idea, is that fluency doesn't actually come from being perfect. It comes from practice.
Yeah.
Deliberate, consistent practice.
That's interesting because I think so many learners, I definitely felt this way learning another language, feel like you have to, nail every single grammar rule before you dare speak.
Exactly.
But this source flips that idea around. It says active practice is the way. How does that shift actually happen?
Well, it's crucial because it's actively like rewiring how you approach speaking. The ground rules in this practice, they're not passive at all. They demand you get involved.
Okay.
You have to speak out loud, even if it feels a bit weird or, maybe just whispering it in the car. That act of verbalizing is key. It builds language muscle memory.
Language muscle memory. I like that.
Yeah, it trains your brain to pull out words and phrases without all that conscious effort, kind of like a native speaker does. It helps bypass that inner critic that makes us overthink everything.
Okay, so getting a bit uncomfortable to build that linguistic muscle. Powerful stuff. All right, let's unpack how this practice actually, works. The source material, it cleverly breaks the day down. 3 parts, right? 3 sessions designed to build confidence.
Exactly. It's structured almost like climbing a ladder. You build your ability step by step. You start with the morning routine, then you tackle afternoon activities, and finally, the evening wind down.
A linguistic ladder. Nice.
Yeah, and this segmented approach, it's really smart because you can focus on specific words, specific situations without feeling totally, overwhelmed. You build a solid base for each part of your day, bit by bit, instead of trying to gulp down the entire dictionary.
Love that. Okay, so we kick things off with part 1, the morning return power round.
Right.
The idea here is literally to wake up your English, tackling that groggiest, maybe, but often most descriptive part of the day. How does it force you to speak quickly right off the bat?
It's designed as a rapid fire thing. 15 questions, just 4 minutes.
Wow, okay.
And the instruction is simple, but pretty potent. Don't think, just speak. You get these short pauses after each question, just enough for you to give an immediate verbal answer. It trains your brain to just react, Stops that internal translation engine that slows everything down. It's all about spontaneous output.
And the questions themselves, they're so relatable. That must help with the don't think, just speak part. Like it starts with, what time do you usually wake up on weekdays? And a possible answer might be, typically around 6:30 a.m., though I wish I could sleep longer. Or, are you a morning person or do you hate mornings?
That's a perfect example. It gets you talking about something real, something personal straight away. And the suggested answers, they often sound quite, honest. Like, honestly, I'm terrible in the mornings, need like 30 minutes and coffee before I'm even human. You're not just practicing reciting English. You're sharing your reality. That makes the language feel more yours.
That real life bit makes it way more engaging, doesn't it? Who hasn't felt that? The source even has questions like, what's the very first thing you do when you open your eyes? And the answer is pretty funny. Grab my phone to check the time, then immediately regret it. Yes.
And there are others too, like, do you make your bed every morning? Shower time, morning or evening person? What's your go-to breakfast when you're running late? Coffee, tea, or something else? How long does your whole morning routine take? Biggest morning struggle? Do you check social media first thing? Be honest. What motivates you on tough mornings? Ever skip breakfast? Why? How do you feel during your commute? One thing that makes your morning better. And if you could change one thing about your mornings, what would it be? Yeah, a whole range. And this section, it immediately starts building your confidence because you're actually doing it. You're saying answers out loud to common questions about a really personal time of day. That feeling of, productive speaking, making sentences, it's an instant win. It really helps tackle that initial fear of speaking.
Okay, then we shift gears. Part 2. Afternoon energy boost work in study life. This is where your English gets maybe more practical.
Mm-hmm.
What's different about these questions, and why is that important for building that conversational flow?
Well, what's interesting here is it moves beyond just personal habits. It gets into professional stuff or academic life. And that's crucial because, it brings in different vocabulary, different ways of structuring sentences,
Right.
questions like, where do you work or study, and what's it like? Or what's the best part of your job or classes? These are common, icebreakers. They're part of nearly every real conversation. So you're expanding your comfort zone into a new area.
Exactly. And it also covers those maybe mundane but important details that pop up in small talk. Like, tell me about your typical lunch, quick or relaxed? Or do you take breaks during the day? What do you do?
Yes, and things like, what time do you feel most energetic? When do you hit that afternoon energy slump? Do you work better alone or with others? What's your dream job if money wasn't a factor? How do you stay motivated on boring days? What's your workspace like? Do you ever take power naps? Why or why not? Why? Most challenging part of your day? How do you handle stress when things get busy? What time do you usually clock off? And crucially, what's the first thing you want to do when you're finally done?
That last one's important.
It is. And this continuous active practice, right through the afternoon questions, it just reinforces that speaking confidence. Especially if you're talking about more complex things like your responsibilities. You're building fluency for your whole day, not just, the coffee chat in the morning.
Okay, and then finally we get to part 3, evening wind down, ending strong. This wraps up the daily routine, asking about how you relax, how you end the day. I know for me, winding down is a totally different ballgame from waking up.
Absolutely. It ties the whole day together, paints the complete picture. It covers questions like, what do you do immediately after work or school? Who usually cooks dinner in your house? And what time does your family typically eat dinner? These are the questions that really make you sound natural because they're just part of everyday life stuff.
Oh, and I like the practical ones too, like what's your favorite easy dinner to prepare? That's a question I actually get asked quite a bit.
Me too.
But it also includes things like, do you clean up right after eating or leave it? How do you like to relax in the evening? Exercise? Night owl or morning lark? How much time do you spend glued to your phone in the evening? What time do you start your bedtime routines, Rob? What does that routine involve? Read or watch something before sleep. Well, how many hours of sleep are you aiming for? What helps you drift off when your mind's racing? Same bedtime every night. And that final, all-important one. How do you feel when you wake up rested or still tired?
Yeah, and by the time you've gone through all 3 parts, you've answered 45 real English conversation questions out loud.
45.
Yeah, that's a serious speaking workout. And it just shows the power of consistent, focused practice for really embedding the language.
What strikes me here is the focus on not just, reading the questions, but actively using them. The source doesn't just give you the list. It describes a whole practice system around it. How does that system really make the learning stick?
That system is, it's key. It includes a practice guide with all 45 questions, great for review. But crucially, it also offers an audio download of the whole practice session.
Oh, okay.
And that's a game changer because it lets you practice during dead time.
Yeah.
When you're cooking, driving, walking the dog, doing chores, you're turning that otherwise unproductive time into English fluency time. You're basically creating your own little immersive environment wherever you are.
I can totally see how that would boost your practice hours without feeling like, more homework. And it goes further, doesn't it? It has blank spaces for your own answers.
Exactly. So you can create a customized practice session that's actually about your life, which makes it way more relevant. Plus, it throws in bonus pronunciation tips for words that often get tripped up on in daily routine chat. Super helpful.
That sounds incredibly practical.
It really is. And the core message running through it all is just so clear. Fluent English speakers, they weren't born that way.
Right.
They got there through consistent, deliberate practice. Just like learning piano or, any other skill, there aren't really any magical shortcuts. It's about having a structured, repeatable method that lets you engage deeply, build that confidence, and sound more natural over time.
So wrapping this up, what does this mean for you listening right now? This deep dive into something as seemingly simple as your daily routine, using this kind of active practice method.
Well, it really shows a powerful way to build conversational confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about memorizing lists or obsessing over grammar rules. It's about engaging with English in a practical, repeatable way, building fluency almost like forming a new habit. Yeah, it really underlines how focusing on something fundamental, something you do every day, can unlock major speaking confidence and, well, fluency across the board. It makes that big abstract goal of fluency feel much more tangible, much more doable.
It definitely makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other seemingly simple, consistent, everyday actions, if we applied this kind of deliberate, active practice, the kind that bypasses overthinking and builds that muscle memory, what else could that unlock? Could that become a catalyst for mastering totally different skills or understanding complex topics way beyond just learning a language?